Have you noticed what happens the moment you feel sick? Your brain flips a switch and every thought is a complaint or a worry. This is the worst, or I'll never feel normal again. It feels harmless, but what if I told you those exact thoughts are like dumping rocket fuel on the inflammation already in your system? New studies are painting a clear picture. Just 1 hour of negative rumination can spike cortisol and prolong your body's stress response. And that stress is known to impact your immune system. For example, chronic stress is associated with a decrease in the cytotoxic activity of natural killer cells, which are your body's frontline defenders. When they're suppressed, you're fighting with one arm tied behind your back. The story you tell yourself when you're sick can literally keep you sick. It's a physiological reality. So stick around, because I'm going to give you 3 field-tested mindset shifts to help your body do what it was built to do: heal. The invisible drip of stress chemicals. Imagine your immune system as a diligent security team. Now, think of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline as rowdy teenagers creating chaos. When you fall into chronic worry, your brain's amygdala hits the panic button, and your HPA axis floods your system with these hormones. In short bursts, they're lifesavers. But when the alarm keeps sounding because your inner monologue won't stop, your immune cells get exhausted. What happens then? Your white blood cell production can drop. Helpful inflammation can turn into chronic, damaging inflammation. And that cold you were supposed to beat in a week morphs into a 2-week saga. This isn't just theory. A meta-analysis that concluded in July 2022 and looked at over 230,000 people revealed that pessimism was associated with a higher risk of dying from any cause. Their cells were literally swimming in a chronic stress bath, making every ailment worse. It's like trying to grow a garden in toxic soil. Nothing thrives. The nocebo you've never heard of. We've all heard of the placebo effect, where belief can create a positive outcome. But have you heard of its darker twin, the nocebo effect? This is when negative expectations create negative outcomes. Consider a classic trial. Volunteers were told an imperceptible electric current would likely cause a headache. No current was ever switched on. Yet, a staggering 2/3 of them developed a real, tangible headache. Their expectation became their reality. Now, translate that to your illness. If you tell yourself, "This flu always hits me harder," your brain listens. It can tighten blood vessels, increasing pain, and ramp up inflammatory proteins, making symptoms feel worse. Harvard researchers have pointed out that educating patients about pain management and setting expectations can be critical. In other studies, patients who held negative expectations about pain after surgery required significantly more pain medication to manage their discomfort. The belief about pain can have a direct, measurable impact on the amount of pain relief needed. Your diagnosis is a biological fact, but the severity and duration of your illness are often shaped in the theatre of your mind. If you're finding this useful, please hit that subscribe button. It helps this message reach more people. Now grab a pen, because this next part is the actionable playbook. These are the tools to actively participate in your own recovery. Strategy 1. Catch, rename, refuse. Our first strategy is catch, rename, refuse. This is about interrupting a negative thought pattern. First, catch the thought. When "I'm falling apart" pops up, just notice it. See it as a thought, not a fact. This simple observation creates distance and disarms its power. Second, rename it. Swap the catastrophic language for something neutral. Falling apart becomes recalibrating. I'll never feel normal becomes my body is prioritizing healing. Using less dramatic vocabulary shrinks the perceived threat and changes your physiological response. Third, refuse repetition. Firmly tell yourself, "Not helpful." Then, immediately pivot to a sensory anchor. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice the air temperature. This grounds you in the present reality. This 3-step process interrupts the stress cascade before it starts. One pilot study on a mobile cognitive therapy app found that just-in-time interventions helped reduce the count of rumination episodes. Strategy 2, micro wins log. Strategy number 2, the micro wins log. Sickness makes us zoom out and see the overwhelming journey ahead. This is debilitating. Instead, I want you to pull out a mental microscope. Every night, before you sleep, jot down 3 microscopic victories from your day. I mean microscopic. Showered without sitting down. Laughed at a meme. That cracker stayed down. Why is this so powerful? Your brain records each entry as concrete evidence of progress. It's like building a case file for your recovery. Each tiny win nudges your nervous system into the rest and digest mode, which is where true healing happens. A 2023 meta-analysis showed that chronic inflammation, which can be measured by markers like C-reactive protein, CRP, is associated with a higher risk of various health problems. By actively seeking and acknowledging these micro-wins, you're sending signals to your brain that it's safe to relax, recover, and rebuild, which can help combat the physiological effects of stress. Strategy 3, Future Self Voice Note. Strategy number 3, the Future Self Voice Note. This one is incredibly effective. Grab your phone and open your voice recorder. Now, speak to yourself from the perspective of 30 days in the future, when you're already better. Speak in the present tense, as if it's already happened. For example, hey, remember that fever? It broke last week. You're walking the dog again, feeling strong. Be specific and enthusiastic. Why does this work? Hearing your own voice forecasting your recovery hacks the predictive coding system in your brain. You're giving your internal GPS a clear destination. Stanford studies using brain-machine interfaces have shown that imagining a task can activate the brain in ways that carry over to physical performance. When you replay that note, your brain runs a simulation of your recovery, preparing your body for that reality. Play it morning and night, and let your future self be your healing ally. Common pitfalls and quick fixes. Let's cover some common pitfalls and quick fixes. First, toxic positivity. Pretending you're fine when you're not. Suppressed emotion just amplifies stress. The fix. Give your worry a 20-minute parking permit. Set a timer, vent, and feel it. When the timer dings, you consciously let it go for now. This validates your feelings without letting them take over. Second, comparison. Scrolling social media and seeing everyone else's healthy highlight reel. This triggers feelings of inadequacy and isolation. The fix. Curate your feed like medicine. Unfollow anything that makes you feel worse. Instead, consume content that teaches or offers genuine support. Third, isolating yourself. We're wired for connection, and research shows chronic isolation poses serious health risks comparable to smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day and may increase the risk of premature death by nearly 30%. The fix. Schedule 1 5-minute social check-in daily. A quick text, a short call. This social co-regulation can lower cortisol and boost feel-good hormones. The physiological benefits are profound. If you found value here, please tap that like button. It helps show this video to someone else who might be stuck and feeling overwhelmed. And I'd love for you to drop your own micro win in the comments below. Your small victory might be the inspiration the next viewer needs. Look, illness is part biology, part story. We can't always rewrite the biology overnight. But the story we tell ourselves about it? That is entirely editable. A negative mindset isn't a personality flaw. It's often just outdated software that kept our ancestors safe but crashes against the challenges of modern illness. So, it's time for an upgrade. Catch your thoughts, rename them, and shrink their power. Log your microscopic wins to build a case for your recovery. And speak your future into existence. When you do that, you stop being a passive victim and become an active participant in your own healing. It's time to switch the track, change the song, and let your immune system hear the music it was born to dance to, the music of recovery and resilience.